Hello, Mama. How are you feeling today? Exhaustion and happiness, love and frustration, tears and laughter. I'm Amanda Clare, creator of Mother's Rock, a coaching program to help mothers like you ditch exhaustion and overwhelm and to get your mojo back. I live in Scotland by a beautiful river with my 3 wild daughters and my husband and 2 guinea pigs. So let's face it, being a mum is a challenging job. You're exhausted, you've had next to no sleep for months, if not years. Sorry, new mums, it can happen. Your body has changed, you're proud of it, but it takes an effort not to feel bad about it a lot of the time. You haven't waxed your legs in months, you can't find your makeup, occasionally you might buy a new eyeliner. Your identity has changed. I mean, you knew that it would, and that was part of the excitement, but you find yourself sounding like your own mum or giving in on ideals that you never thought you would before you had kids. Your role in the world has changed. You're no longer the centerpiece of your own life plan. Everything you want to do or achieve or experience now comes with a caveat. You love them, but there is no denying that there is a sacrifice. Your relationship has changed. Your ideas about motherhood, fatherhood, sexiness, feminism, like nearly everything has been called into question, and neither of you are sure how to navigate it. Your sense of self-worth is painfully delicate. You're 100% committed to doing everything you can for your kids, but you are never sure if any of it is working. You know logically what you're doing is a good thing, but on the inside, you feel more like a floor mop than a lioness. And you greet any brave visitors to your house with apologies for the state of everything. Since when did you actually care about appearances? But somehow you do, and you're sure that other people are better at this than you are. You're stuck in a cycle of laundry, nappies, meal times, baby groups, cardboard models, and that's before your own work, if you have some. The lack of sleep, the high levels of cortisol, which come from stress, are wreaking havoc on your immune system, your waistline, but mostly your just enjoyment of life. And the constant juggling is keeping you in a treadmill of your own demise. Parenting took like a weird turn in the Victorian industrialized era, which probably lasted down to your own upbringing, seen and not heard type of stuff. And you want to undo the damage of your childhood and not repeat the patterns of behavior. But this puts an evolutionary pressure on you that is unprecedented. You're trying to fix things as well as just survive and have Instagram moments. It is a job worth doing, but you don't feel recognized for the value that you're giving, not just to your family, but to society as a whole. You're providing the nurturing for the future of the human race. And we seriously need some awesome individuals if we're going to change the way in which we live and survive on the planet. So you're fabulous, but it feels like bottom of the pile work. You once had passionate ideals about mothering and parenting. It's okay to admit it. We all thought, I would never let my child do that. But your child is harder to put to sleep than you thought, despite the stories and cuddles. They're fighting over toys in other people's houses, screaming for sweets in the supermarket, all the things that you swore wouldn't happen. It's a lot harder than you thought, or at least it's a lot different. We no longer live in tribes or communities, so we've lost the shared responsibility, the support, and extra arms to help bring up the babies. Your ideas of motherhood were informed by the images of your mother surviving whichever way she could, and the media, need I say more. You're basically on your own, doing the job of a village, with little experience, and doing the most important job you can think of. Advice from the older generation is hard to accept, as it can seem old-fashioned and not in alignment with your values. So you turn to parenting books and websites for inspiration, but basically, if you're too tired and overwhelmed to implement the new paradigm, be it super nanny or hippie mama, you feel like you failed. So what are your options? You try another system, you get some more advice, and you repeat the same cycle. Constantly feeling like nothing is achieved leads to too much cake, over drinking, depression, anxiety, and increased pressure on your relationships. Feeling low can lead you to feeling more and more isolated. You may not even recognize it as it creeps up slowly. Connecting with other mothers honestly can then become hard, and connecting with your own true sense of yourself is even harder. But it is a double whammy, because your children are wired to be able to decode your emotions and copy your behavior. So mirror neurons in the brain are there to mirror the behavior of others. So you know when a newborn sticks their tongue out at you because you did it to them? It's kind of weird, right? Well, that is mirror neurons working. So if you're tired, stressed, frustrated, angry, your child will feel it and start to copy it. And if you deal with your emotions by shouting, we've all done it, or talking with sarcasm or gritted teeth or bursting into tears, your child will be learning how to deal with emotions in the same way. You know, this is not conscious, it just is. This is how we work. We're social creatures. For example, a baby who gets no interaction at an early age, who only sees an expressionless face, cannot learn empathy. A part of their brain simply doesn't develop properly. This isn't you doing a grand job. Your children are fed and watered and given shelter. You read to them and play songs, and they have new shoes even every now and then. But if you are always tired and close to being grumpy or teary, your children are expecting to feel that way too. In fact, they will feel that way and they will act up and be challenging in order to process those feelings, which in turn makes life harder again for you, and so the cycle repeats. Well, what if there was a simple way to cut through this chaos, to ditch the complete exhaustion and feel empowered as a woman as well as a mother? And it's easy, and it doesn't require surgery or hiring a full-time nanny. You don't have to live in a tribe either if you don't want to, although I've always fancied it. You know, does it sound tempting? Well, you've already listened to quite a bit from me. And at this point, I'm supposed to tell you how I used to feel crap all the time and how now I've transformed into a super duper goddess mom who is above all of this. Well, I'm not going to. As a mother of 3 girls, I've just about had it with fairy tale endings. But coming up is a bit about me so that you do know where I am coming from. So I went to a fancy pants girls' school that churned out the academic elite, but I always just wanted to have a baby in arms and make big pots of soup in a rustic kind of kitchen. At family gatherings, I always gravitated towards the kids and the babies to avoid making small talk with the adults. I tried to think of a suitable career path, but I knew that I craved something else. You know, it took me off traveling around the world and doing various jobs, and I was a bit of a wanderer. And when I finally fell into the relationship I'd been looking for and became pregnant, I felt that I'd found my role. So pregnancy was a dream for me. It was abundantly clear that everything else up until that point had been a complete smokescreen for what I really wanted. I started to pull into focus. I felt happy, clear, healthy. It was great, you know, lucky me. Basically, I felt that motherhood was going to bring me a role in life that I could get on board with, a deep connection to nature, to the universe, to another person beyond any other relationship I'd had so far, and some much yearned for sort of feminine wisdom. Are you slightly rolling your eyes at this point? Because I don't blame you. I had that potentially nauseating belief that I was probably going to do it all a little bit better. Then who? I don't know. Probably just better than I thought people would expect. You know, maybe you felt that way too. Maybe we all did a bit. I don't know. You know, anyway, birth was epic. And then I nearly lost my daughter. I had done everything naturally. We had a water birth, no pain relief, no vitamin K injection, no wiping the vermix from the skin. But something else happened entirely. And my daughter, the saviour that I've been waiting for, was rushed off to have her own life saved. You know, I was still in a euphoric bubble of labour and birth, and the true reality didn't dawn on me for some time. I was shown a photo of her in the ICU. You know, they do this if they think your baby isn't going to make it. She was ventilated, tubes in and out of her everywhere, beeping noises at all her vital signs. I had to leave the hospital without her, you know, this feeling of not knowing. It was a very real nightmare. Thankfully, she survived, and a few weeks later we took her home. She's awesome and strong and nothing to worry about. But I've taken you back there to show you how I had been catapulted into a very different reality to the one that I had been dreaming up. In fact, I suspect that without the dramatic first few weeks and the heightened shock and the pumping of breast milk in a hospital cupboard while staring at a cross-section poster of a boob and told to look at photos of my baby girl, I would still have been catapulted into a state of shock. And that is my point. I think most mothers I have known have been, I think most mothers have been, whatever their birth story, and we all have one. Life carried on, but it wasn't all baby massages, she hated them, and lullabies. There is a bit more to this story, and I will get there, I promise. So we moved to Scotland. My husband, type creature, was doing a degree. And I was actually in my perceived dream of babe in arms, a kitchen with a ceramic sink and a fireplace. It was freezing. I wore a hat indoors and sometimes gloves. I went on, had 2 more beautiful daughters. There was less medical drama and a slightly more flexible birth plan. But I was exhausted, stressed, and alone. Far away from the support of super grannies and aunties I now know them to be. I tried all the obvious routes for me to help navigate bedtime and tantrums, weaning and potty training. I wore slings, washed nappies, did sticker charts and naughty steps. I did co-sleeping, and then I went to control crying, and then I went back to co-sleeping. I did routines, and then I dropped them and went with the flow. I lay down and slept with my girls in their beds and made up stories. And then I also took their toys hostage when the story thing wasn't working. So what I'm telling you is that I tried everything, even the no nappy approach at one point. You should look that one up. Whatever I did, I was still emotionally exhausted and overwhelmed. I wanted to sink my sorrows into a mountain of pasta every single night. I felt tearful and desperate when their dad left for university in the mornings because I didn't know how I was going to get through the day. I was gentle and loving, but I was also tearful too often, and my exhaustion was turning into frustration, hopelessness into anger. I felt like I might implode or just disintegrate at any moment. But not all the time, though, and this is important. I only really felt like this in private. I put on a brave face and went to baby groups. I met other mums, and I had a laugh about how crazy it all was. That helped. But it didn't actually change anything from one day to the next. Friends congratulated me on my beautiful children, said how polite and adorable they were. But at home, they were tearing the house down and I was on my knees. I still loved my children and still wanted to make it all brilliant, but I knew it wasn't working. I didn't know any other choice than just to keep picking myself up and believing that somehow it'd get easier or different or something would work itself out. So do I need to pick out the themes here? High expectations, no support, and finding it hard to accept it when I did have it. Idealistic about motherhood, stubborn and trying to reinvent the wheel, too proud to let it all show, losing my identity, and the kids picking up on the unrest and chaos and getting more wild. They always know when something's up. So no fairy tale endings, I told you. But it did get better. Let me rephrase that. I got better. I signed up to an online course and it was nothing to do with parenting. I wanted to get healthier, and it got me breathing properly, meditating, and seriously looking at how our thoughts create our reality and stress us out unnecessarily. Life was as bonkers as ever. Bedtime was still emotional high stakes. Our life littered with Lego, glitter, and odd socks. It still is. But something was shifting. I wasn't expecting to see a change in the way I was as a mother. I hadn't yet realised that it was me that had to make the changes. I hadn't fully appreciated that you experience the world through what you project into it from the inside out. I wasn't losing my patience, hardly ever, considering the 3 of them were swinging off my elbows and pulling each other's hair out. Again, they still are. I wasn't bursting into tears or anger by the end of the day. I was able to find a friendly way to resolve the arguments. I could connect more easily to them when they were extremely upset and kicking off. I had it in me to create a fun story to convince them to brush their teeth. Okay, I wasn't Mary Poppins, but I was doing a pretty good job of keeping my cool when all around me were not keeping theirs. Magic had started happening. And it wasn't a parenting book or a really clever new gadget or a superfood, although I do like those. It was me. I'd tapped into a way to cope, a way to preserve my energy, to be less constantly worried and on high alert, to expand my ability to remain calm and reasonable and not take the toys hostage. I'd shifted something really gentle, but also really profound. I had a new way to experience being me as a mother. And that, my dear supermom, is what I want to share with you. It felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders by a lovely fairy godmother. Okay, I like some bits of fairy tales. It was a bit like magic, and there is no reason why you shouldn't feel this way too. It's not a fairy tale ending because I'm not a princess, and neither are you, probably, but you don't have to be Cinderella or the wicked stepmother either. Let me be clear. If you're feeling like I've tried to describe, frankly, a bit shit, tired of feeling tired, teary, anxious, wondering how you can love your toddler but still wish someone would just come and take them away for a wee while so you can sleep, this is not because you're a failure or rubbish at being a mum or just not cut out for this or not very maternal after all, or your mother-in-law is right and you should definitely do things her way. We have lost the plot about motherhood as a society. This is much bigger than you or me or your gorgeous children, no matter how talented and adorable they are. The stakes are impossibly high. You're constantly bombarded with messaging by the TV, the internet, magazines, the radio, that you should either be part of the celebrity mum club, what pregnancy, get back to the spa, or off to your day job ASAP. You've got more important things to worry about. Motherhood is to be part of the background of your real life. And if you aren't doing that, then you're likely to end up in a reality TV show being bossed about by a childcare professional. Or you're a barefoot hippie that society doesn't think much of anyway. Why do you insist on being different and homeschool your kids? And you live in a forest, so you're on your own, love. Personally, I switch between these different camps depending on the day of the week. But your role as mother is considered second by society at large, not you or me. But the message is out there. Motherhood is in the background to life. It isn't really a priority. And although you had better be doing it right, and your children had better be school-worthy and polite, and also creative and sporty and intelligent. So no pressure, now get back to the kitchen. But you aren't designed to bring up your baby in a house all by yourself, pretty much. We evolved to live and nurture our children in tribes. Human babies are born developmentally earlier due to the large and very clever prefrontal cortex. Therefore, we're born far more vulnerable, not able to run away or feed ourselves. Your baby is developmentally designed to be carried, but passed between women, not just you all day. Your toddler's brain is ready to interact and watch other children of varying ages at play, and to run about all day outdoors pretty much non-stop. That's what those cousins and neighbours are for. But you can't open the door and let them run in the street with their friends, and they're all at school anyway. Your child is designed to sleep skin to skin with a big group of their family, and only when it gets dark. No wonder bedtimes can be tough when it's you and the hungry caterpillar again. And let's face it, you're itching to get downstairs and open a bottle of wine and catch up on the latest Netflix addiction. It's a pretty different picture. And the babies are livid, or mine always seem to be, and you're exhausted and overwhelmed, but it's not your fault. You are doing your very best. Not only do you keep your baby fed and warm and entertained with books and music, you're also striving to do better than the generation before you, because they were even less aware of the impacts of early life experience on childhood development. So it's normal that you don't want to tell your friends and family that you're at the end of your tether. Admitting that motherhood is getting you down is hard to do. It feels like an admission of failure. We can at least have a laugh about it with all the brilliant mum blogs out there these days. But to get to the next stage and actually say help is a big leap. You may not even have been able to check in with yourself for so long that you don't really know how close to the edge you are. You just have this creeping sensation that it's close. It's unsustainable and you don't feel you've got a choice. And what about what's going on with just you? You're a mammal, somewhere between a sheep and a lion when it comes to mothering instinct. You're alert to danger anyway. Your brain is constantly processing information and comparing it to what happened in the past and projecting what might happen in the future. This can be from leaping to stop the milk from spilling, to grabbing their hand as they run towards the road, to the constant thinking or overthinking about how to make everything better. Your brain, by the way, can't really tell the difference between actually seeing a tiger coming to eat you and imagining that a tiger might come and eat you. So you're on high alert a lot of the time, but it's sort of a chronic state of false alarm. I'm presuming here that there are no real tigers where you are. So instinct is not letting you switch off, but you're no longer in a herd or a pack. You literally have the lioness share, but you've got hooves, not claws, and you're on a hill in the rain. You still with me? So basically, you haven't got a lot of options if you want to feel better, except learning how to feel better despite the challenges. Because it isn't the routine or the night light or getting to when they're at school that's going to change the way you feel. You know, as my older sister said, small kids, small problems, big kids, bigger problems. So your ability to cope, to feel calm, to enjoy it is going to come from within you, not from the outside world. So here's a bunch of things that can happen when you start to feel better. You feel more capable so that you can get creative on the spot about fun ways to get your kids to put their boots on, get out of the house without having to bribe them with sweets. You feel more in charge of your day so that when you hit the pillow at night, you can say, wow, I'm awesome, I did it, instead of, thank goodness that's over. You feel less depressed and anxious, so your relationships might improve too. You will enjoy and notice the little things more. And it sounds trite, but it makes a massive difference and it reduces your stress. You can sleep better. It's quality of sleep, in the hours that you get a chance to. And that means your body can repair and replenish, which it really, really needs. You can start to learn and build on the skills that will help you to cope as your family grow and change. Big kids, bigger problems. And you feel more able to manage in a way that suits you. So you're not slave to one style of parenting. You do what works for you and feels right. No one else can tell you what that is. And then you're also modeling skills for a life of good energy, creativity, and ability to deal with stress. You're modeling for that for your children, and they're going to need that. And it's not just me, by the way, that thinks what you do as a mother is so crucial. Check out this quote by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The planet does not need more successful people. The planet desperately needs more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and lovers of all kinds. That is pretty much what you do on a daily basis, right? Although he did forget nose wipers, but I think we can forgive him. So you've listened to me this far, thank you for that. And now I'm going to give you a quick run through of my 2 favourite ways to decrease your stress and get back to feeling good. So if you get nothing else out of this video, you can at least try these and see what you think. And if you've done them before but haven't kept them up, try them again. A beginner's mind is what we're all aiming for at all times. So first up is breathing practice. So breathing practice. First of all, you've got to check that you're breathing from your abdomen, from your belly. And you might feel a resistance to really using it. So if you need to practice in a safe private space or even in the bath, go ahead and do that. You need to get used to filling it right up like a balloon so that you can really draw in a good amount of oxygen. By breathing from your abdomen, you're starting to switch your system from the sympathetic nervous system, fight and flight, cortisol and stress, to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is chill, put your feet up, stare at the moon kind of feeling. So the more you do this, the more you switch, the better your brain will be at doing it. And you're building and strengthening a neural network. So breathing in through your nose and into your belly, and then exhaling slowly the same way. And when you feel comfortable doing it, you can hold your breath between the inhale and the exhale. So it feels really wonderful, but you can switch from needing to scream into the pillow to let's have a cup of tea and make daisy chains. It's really helpful as an emergency tool. But even better is if you can practice doing it before you get all sweary. So if you can do this, you'll notice that you're blissing out much more regularly. That's the magic wand bit. And it happens as if you never knew any different. The next one is celebrating your successes. So we're not trained to do this. Particularly in the UK, it can feel deeply uncomfortable to pat yourself on the back regularly over anything. But the problem is your experience of life comes through the filter of your perception of it. So your brain is seeking out what it already knows. So if you're focusing, without even trying, on the milk that's spilled, the fact that you got cross, telling yourself you're too tired, then you will be more than likely to notice all those things again tomorrow. Your brain will want to find those experiences. So the trick is to make a conscious and private, if you need to, effort to take a note of anything that felt good or went well. And my guess is that there are loads of things you've just forgotten to notice them. The stressy things are like big red flags in your mind, and the little happy things get lost behind. So you've got to seek them out every day in your mind before you go to sleep. Even if it's the very last thing you do, don't start the next day without remembering what went well. And it doesn't matter how small or insignificant you think it is, because it's the act of taking notice that counts. And you will start to notice your filter sort of getting rosier. So both of these are so easy to do, and they're free, and they are hugely effective. You do actually have to try them for them to work, but when you do, you'll start to shift how you feel, and that's what you've got to do. So, and if you can form a habit of them, then you're really on your way to making a difference in the quality of your life. It can be, of course, a struggle to start up new habits, which is why support, accountability, and community of like-minded mothers really helps. And that's exactly what I want to offer you in my mini coaching package. Yay, I made it, so I hope you're still with me. But at this point, I might say that if you are in fact Mary Poppins, or you have a devoted team of grannies and sisters, or you live in a commune, or your own mother was so awesome that you have all this stuff sorted already, that you might not benefit from the help that I'm offering. Joking aside, we are all different. So if you're, high-fiving your way through motherhood, then I salute you, keep going, you rock. So here's the offer. It's what I call the Mothers Rock Curiosity Call and Mini Coaching Program. So it's 2 one-to-one coaching curiosity calls for an hour, or possibly a bit more. It depends what you need. And this is where you can talk and I will listen. Really, really listen. This is about discovering how you actually feel, creating a moment to stop and figure out exactly where you are and to get some perspective on that. There's no judgment on how to be a mother or how to get bedtime under 20 minutes. This is purely you time. And then you'll have personal email support from me for 3 weeks. So we'll touch base via email once a week to see if you're finding ways to get the new ideas and habits into your life, and if they're working, and if not, why not? And then I'll send you some Mama Mojo worksheets to fill in to get you thinking about some cool stuff. So it's like motherhood homework. And I would recommend that the 2 calls are spaced out at the beginning and at the end of the program. Now, if you already know for sure that this is for you and you're getting itchy to get on with this, just give yourself a big pat on the back for putting yourself first. Well done. And click on the button below the video and book in with me ASAP, and I will speak to you soon. So this mini coaching program will cost you £125, which is less than a big shop at a middle of the range supermarket, or even your 4-year-old's birthday party, or a new outfit for a wedding or a job interview. And this is the thing, it's just as important and valuable, but you just might not be used to making motherhood and how you're feeling something that you invest in. And, why not? We've got to start thinking about why we wouldn't invest in that. It's super duper important. I've conjured up this mini coaching program because I really, really believe in the value of this message. There are things you can do to lower your stress and increase your energy, and they're easy to do. Anyone can do them and feel the results. And that will eventually filter down to the kids, and then we're starting to change the world. So this is about all of us. I'm convinced that we can level up our experience of motherhood, and it's just a little bit important to do it. I don't know about you, but the future to me looks pretty dicey right now. Maybe it always has, but as a mother, we do actually have something extremely powerful in our hands. We're raising the future thinkers, doers, creators, leaders, policymakers, artists, and storytellers of the future. You know, that's the thing about us humans. We're able to dream up an idea and then actually bring it into reality. So the more relaxed and creative and able to cope you and your family are, the bigger and better and more amazing the future that they will be able to create will be. So getting this motherhood thing into place that feels good is really crucial. Plus, the fact that you found this video and stuck with me this far is giving me a Columbo complex that suggests to me that you are most likely deeply concerned about the planet, about the environment, about the state of politics, about the education system, the food system and its commercialization. And you're doing everything you can right now. You're giving everything you've got to make sure your children grow to be responsible, active, independent thinking citizens who know how to cook and eat vegetables and switch the tap off between brushing. You know, you are already doing an amazing job. You have some powerful mother vibes. But despite this, it also suggests to me that you might be a tiny bit used to doing this all pretty much by yourself and might be a bit slow to accepting help. You know, hands up if you're guilty, I am. You know, but it does take a village, right? So this is an opportunity for you to try on coaching thingy and see if it's helpful to you. And on that note, if it feels off or we don't create a good vibe on the first conversation, then I won't feel happy taking your money, so I will return it to you. No harm done, you know, we gave it a go. And it's all done via Skype, so we don't even have to use the video if you don't want, so there's no need to even get out of your pajamas or brush your hair. There's nothing to be concerned about. So it's easy peasy to do. The button below this video will send you straight through to PayPal. Then I will send you an email with an option for times so that we can have our first call. And I'll send you a questionnaire to fill in before the call. And then we can speak and find out what's going on with you and what you can start doing to make a shift that is gentle. It is gentle, but it's effective. And we will keep in touch via email and arrange the second call a few weeks down the line. So, ta-da! I'm not going to promise that you won't still feel a bit fed up sometimes, or that your children will suddenly turn into little angels. You know, this is no fairy tales, remember? But this is the only way that I have come across to start making a difference to the way that you're feeling despite the chaos around you. And I'm confident in saying that without taking charge of your own mindset and energy around motherhood, it's not going to suddenly get simpler or easier. It will change, but how you feel on the inside may not, without making changes on the inside. So go for it, ladies. Sign up below. You've got nothing to lose. Can you think of any mother that you know that wouldn't benefit from a bit of objective listening time and easygoing support from someone who gets it, that isn't their sister or their mother-in-law? So how about you? You know, the world is not going to make this any easier for you, not just yet. So let's get this together and start upgrading the experience of motherhood. You know, get your mojo back, feel supported, and show your kids how to do it. You rock. Sign up now. Be brave. Throw caution to the wind. You don't often get the chance to do that. This is for you, and the result will also benefit your kids too, and probably any other relationship you've got going on right now. Happier you equals happier you. I hope this has reached you. I hope you have at least thought about the fact that you are doing a great job with the odds against you. And then at least today you can give yourself a break. Most of all, I really hope that you take a leap. So sign up below and send me a message. Thank you for sticking with me all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. I look forward to connecting with you soon. And you can also check out Mother's Rock on Facebook, or if you'd like to contact me directly, then go ahead and do that. You can write to me at the email below. Thanks very much.